Finance Conversations. This is the 68th episode of the Merging Life and Money Show, and I am delighted to be here today. For those of you who do not know me, I am your host, Marie-Jo César. I help professional women bridge the gap between life and money by teaching them the relevant financial skills and knowledge they need to take control of their money, manage their finances, and understand that they can live their best life with the money they have. Thank you for joining in today. If you are watching the replay, make sure to type #replay in the chat and leave me some comments and questions. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. I come to you live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to share valuable information about how to achieve financial wellness and live your life with means and meaning. So our student loan series continues. Okay, and this is part, I believe, 3 of the series and part 2 of the college funding options. So my special guest, Eric Dudley, who is a frequent contributor to the Merging Life and Money Show, will address today other funding options for college. And if you recall, we're doing a series on student loan. And last week, Eric talked about the first part of the available funding options for students. So before I get into it, let me introduce Eric to those who have not met him. And as I mentioned, he's a regular contributor, so my followers would know who he is. But Eric is an independent, experienced, holistic financial advisor whose specialties are retirement planning, investing solution, and life insurance. He's also the founder and and president, of Dudley Financial Group. And one of his main goals is to help his clients build their best tomorrow while protecting them today. So welcome, Eric, to the show again. And welcome, followers and listeners. Thank you for joining in today. So grab a pen and a notebook, take some notes, and I think that you should, because this is very important information, particularly for those who are contemplating going to college or contemplating funding further education if they're already in college. So, and as you may know, the main objective of the Merging Life and Money Show and my very strong why is to empower as many people as I can with what I know about money and finance. So today, we will continue the conversation about the various funding options that are available to the students and their parents. So Eric will talk specifically about 529 plans, Coverdell ESA, Roth IRA, Index Universal Life or IUL, saving bonds, and custodial accounts, which are known by the acronyms UGMA and UTMA. So let's give today's show some context before I hand it over to Eric. This is again part 3 of our series on student loan. And I know that Eric would recap last week's show in a minute. So I will just say that the past shows have been very, very informative. And again, today, Eric will continue to enlighten us. So my take so far is that higher education can be a costly endeavor. And for many families, it is, it could be a major challenge. So thankfully, there are a variety of funding options available to help meet this challenge. So today, Eric will take a closer look at some other options that are available for financing college expenses. And we will also discuss how to determine which option is best for you. So whether or not you are just starting to think about college, as I said, or you are already in the midst of the admission process, listen on for helpful advice on how to afford higher education. So Eric, you are on. Tell us more about the other available funding options. And I know that you have a lot to cover today, so I am going to get off my soapbox and let you do your thing. Over to you.
Thanks, MJ, for having me on. Really glad that we are able to do this series and cover it in so much detail because, it's taken 4 episodes to be able to cover it completely. And honestly, it could go for 20 if we wanted to because there's so much to talk about. But what I want to do first is I want to go ahead and cover just a recap what we did last week. We covered some of the ways to fund college plans. The first one was the best one, the grants and scholarships. Grants and scholarships, the best way to do it because, of course, other people are paying for it. And there are tons and tons and tons of grants and scholarships out there, billions and billions of dollars available. Now, what do you have to do for that? Well, you have to apply. You got to apply. You got to do it early and often. You got to keep on with it because many times you won't qualify for it. But if you keep on doing it enough, because of a numbers game here, you'll qualify for some or most of what you need. And so that's a really great thing. Of course, the government is a great place to go for it, but there's a lot of private loans, grants and scholarships that you can go for. So do your research and look into it. And what's really important is making sure you're qualified for them. And we're going to cover in detail next week how to make sure you're more likely to be qualified for these grants and scholarships. So make sure you attend that one. Okay, and then also we covered last week loans. That's the biggest way to be able to fund college. It's not the fun way. It's not the good way because you got to pay for it later, but a lot of people have to do it. And in order to do that, again, make sure that you get your loans in quickly. Make sure that you check to see if you can get the best loan rates with the government or other places that might have lower interest rates. Always check into that because, of course, that's going to mean thousands of dollars extra that you can save if you get a lower interest rate. So definitely check into that. We also looked at prepaid college plans. Great idea because you can pay today's prices for tomorrow's education. And since, the cost of college is always skyrocketing, you got to think in 15, 20 years, college education is going to be much more expensive than it is now. So if you can pay today's prices, that's a really good deal. Only bad thing about prepaid college is that it's not available everywhere. It's not available in every state, and it's not available in every university in every state. So make sure you check. And then the last one we covered last week was our savings in cash. This is for people who really plan ahead, maybe have their child participate in putting money into a plan while they work in high school or something like that. Maybe they get an extra job, put some extra money away all the time in a savings account, maybe a CDs or something like that. It's a great idea. It's very safe from market volatility, but of course, it's not safe from inflation volatility, which of course we're having right now. So, it's a safe plan in one way, but it's vulnerable to inflation. So, that's not perhaps the best way in the long run, but it is one way. And of course, with cash, if people are just planning on paying for it as they go from their income that they have, great. That's fantastic, but that's not available to most people because that's like almost paying for a house in 4 years. So it's that's a pretty substantial amount. So anyway, that's what we covered last week. So now we're going to talk about the ones that we have for this week, and we're going to start off with the 529 plan.
So if I want to interject really quickly there. Mm-hmm. So last show, you actually covered 5 options.
Well, it was I put them in 4 categories, but yes, savings and cash I put in 1 category.
Okay. So that there are, I'm saying that to make the point that there are a very large number of options out here. So loan is not your only option.
No, as a matter of fact, I mean, I even thought of one that I didn't even put on here, the whole list. I'm not even going to cover today, but that would be like refinancing your house. You could do,
and I'm saying that because when you look at the 1.7 trillion with a T of existing outstanding student loan now, and I know there are like 40 millions of students or whatever, it's still important to, only makes you wonder, do people know about the other option that are actually available to them? When you see that so much money is tied up in loans, when you mentioned was 158 billions of grants that were actually received more recently.
I think that the people who get loans, I think that a lot of them are people who the kids who have parents who do not have the means to be able to pay for college, and perhaps the student doesn't have the grades or haven't gone through the scholarship and grant work that they have to do in order to qualify for those things. And in which case, because the parents can't really help financially, they're kind of tied into having to use loans. And there's a lot of people like that. I mean, the average household in America makes less than $60,000 a year. That's for the whole household. And if that's the case, there's a lot of people who are, paying their bills and, getting by, but they don't have the money for an expense like college.
Right. Yeah. So I just wanted to make the point, because those numbers are really ugly. When you start looking at the loan alone, that is outstanding right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, anyway, let me go ahead and start with the 529 plan. It's a very popular plan, one of the most popular plans out there. One of the things that it's very, very beneficial is it's going to give you tax-free growth. So you put money into the accounts, you can have the money grow tax-free. You can actually see it grow during that time, and because it's tax free, you're going to see the money compound a lot better, and of course the person can withdraw the money whenever they need it during the college years. And so you could have years, especially if you start early, you could have 15, 18 years or so for it to see the compounding interest go really high. You can put as much as $15,000 per child per year into the account, and so because of that, you can see the money grow quite quickly. Now, money can be used in this plan for more than just tuition. It can be used for college dorms. It can be used for food plans and books and things like that. All the things that are associated with college. It cannot be used for other things outside of that. It can't be used for like buying a child a car, okay? Because buying a child, even if the child needs a car to be able to go back and forth to school, it's not going to be used for something like that. It has to be used for some type of college needs. And it can be also used for trade schools, apprentice schools, and even K through 12. It can be used if they choose. And also another big benefit is it can be transferred, if not used, or part of it not used, from one beneficiary in a family to another. So let's say the family has 3 kids. The first child only used part of the money from their 529. The rest of it can be transferred to the second child.
That's interesting to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next one we're going to cover is the Coverdell ESA, which is the Educational Savings Account, and it's very similar in a lot of ways to the 529. It was very popular. The Coverdell was very popular before because in the 529 plan didn't used to have the option for saving for K through 12. So whenever I say saving for K through 12, the 529 plan did not used to allow you to use money to save for private education, K through 12. Okay, so a lot of people would start whenever the child was born, start putting money into it, into a Coverdell, okay, which is only allows you to put in $2,000 a year per child, okay, but that money would be able to be used for private education for their kids. And that wasn't an option for 529s until recently. So 529s now allow that. And because of that, the Coverdell, even though it has a lot of the same benefits as a 529, it doesn't allow you the amount to be able to put into it. It only allows $2,000 a year as opposed to $15,000 a year for the 529. And because of that, a lot of people are transferring from Coverdells to 529s because of that.
So just a quick summary to that. I understand. So the 429 plan until recently could have not been used for private school, correct?
Yes, that's
okay.
right.
So as a result, the Coverdell, where the saving is less, 2,000 versus 15,000 for the 529, used to allow you to use it for private schools and for little kids.
Right.
Right. Okay. So now 529 had code up, and you could do that as well with the 529.
Exactly. And okay. All the time for college expenses, which is really what we're talking about, Coverdell was never as good as the 529 because it never did have as much savings. The savings limit was so much less. Okay. But the Coverdell was popular much more then than it is now, because at least you could save for private school if you wanted to.
Okay. Interesting to know. I didn't know that. Thanks.
Okay. All right. And the next one we're going to cover is the Roth IRA. Roth IRA is used because, of course, you can withdraw money for college expenses, tax-free money, which is really cool. The Roth IRA is great for retirement plans for that, and it can be used for college expenses as well. Okay. And that's a really great thing. I mean, obviously, if you get it tax-free whenever you withdraw it, that's a big advantage over the other two. The only bad thing about it is, though, that if you're withdrawing your money from your Roth IRA to use for college expenses, what's happening to your retirement? I mean, you're withdrawing thousands, probably tens of thousands of dollars from your retirement plan. And then what's going to happen whenever you retire? You know, you don't want to take money away from retirement in order to fund college, because someday you don't want your kids to be paying for your retirement. That's not going to be fun for them, I promise you.
And when you say that, reminds me of Susie Orman, and that she always says, your kids will get a chance at a scholarship for college, but you won't get a chance at a scholarship for retirement.
That's very good. That's very good.
Mind, right?
That's why she gets paid the big bucks. And amounts withdrawn can affect your financial aid eligibility. So it is something that's seen by the government as income. Okay. And that has to do with, do you qualify for a grant and do you qualify for a scholarships? Because income does have something to do with those qualifications. So IRAs have pluses and minuses as well. Okay, the next one is the Indexed Universal Life Policy. Now, I don't know if you listened to the show that I did several months ago on Indexed Universal Life Policies, but they are pretty amazing, okay? What it is it's a insurance policy that will give you a death benefit, but it's not designed because you need a death benefit. It is designed to be a way for you to invest money in a way that you won't be risking the principal, because it's not actually invested in the market. It is instead indexed into the market, meaning that you can't have losses, but you can participate in gains. Okay. It grows tax-free. It's withdrawn tax-free. And of course, if the death benefit is someday used, when it's used someday, it of course will be given tax-free to your loved ones. So it's a really cool idea. Now, it can be done for a college plan. It can be in the parent's name, so the parent can use it to pay for the child's college, or you can put a Indexed Universal Life Policy in the child's name, so that they will be able to take the money out for college. Okay. And the way you do it is you take it out in policy loans. Now you say, well, okay, you're going to have to pay interest on that. And that's true. You will. However, these things are designed because they're planning on using loans. They are designed to be able to take money out without ever having to pay it back, as long as you can make some money from these indexed, it's indexed.
Right.
So you can make the money back without ever actually having to pay the loan back, which is a really interesting way of financing. It's really like private banking, okay? Which I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah. So could we go through that again, because that's important information there. So the IUL, which is the Index Universal Life Policy, offer you a death benefit, but you don't really use it for that purpose specifically. It's more of an investment vehicle, if you will, for lack of a better term, that is indexed to that is indexed, period. And so and I believe they have caps and floors, right? Stuff like that.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So you can actually withdraw from your policy tax-free at any time. Yes. Well, there are some conditions. So tell me, and you said that you could actually have such a policy in the name of a kid. Okay. But the withdrawal would be done by way of policy loans instead of straight withdrawal.
Yes, and the reason why for that, okay, if you take the money out, okay, then let's just say you had $200,000 into a index universal life policy. Okay,
right.
You have $200,000 in cash value. So if you take $40,000 out, and at the end of the year, the index goes up 10%, and you would have made 10%. You, instead of getting it on $200,000, you would make it only on $160,000 because you took out $40,000.
Right, of course, yeah.
But instead, if you just take a loan out, you would get the indexed interest on the entire $200,000. Okay,
but the flip side is that you are charging interest for the loan.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Yeah, but you can look into see which policies will allow you to have as low of interest for these loans as possible. You can get loans for 3%, 4%, 5%, and then of course if you make really good indexed returns, of course that does much better than what you did in the loan. So
clearly, yeah.
So it's a really interesting way of looking at it. Very different. One thing that's awesome about it is that it does not count against your financial aid impact. So if you're drawing money out of this for your loan, that doesn't count as income to financial aid. So that means you could qualify for more grants and scholarships.
Yeah, which of course begs the question for me, and I guess you will touch on that next week. So you have kids as a parent, you would want for them to go to college. Do not wait when they are in high school to start looking at those potential options, right? Because something like this, you're not going to take an IUL at the 11th hour unless you got bags of cash somewhere that you want to put it as a single premium.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, which is not a reality, because you got to play all of this, right? Because some options disqualify you for financial aid, and some options don't. So you want to be able to have the better mix, because you cannot always fund your 4 years tuition from one source.
That's right. And we're going to cover that much more in next week's show, okay? Because that's so important to know where the cutoff line is for you to be able to qualify for the grants and the loans that you're applying for. And you want to be able to wait a minute. I was even told yesterday, I want to say hide the money, but it's not. It's another word for it that doesn't sound so dubious. but it's legal. Okay, you're legally allowed to move this money into these different accounts so that you show that you don't have as much income, but when in fact you do, it's just not seen.
Are you telling my audience that they could shelter their income? No.
Yes, that was the word shelter. I was having a mind blank there. Shelter, exactly. We're sheltering. We're not doing anything wrong. It's good. It's sheltering. It's protective. Okay, so let's go on. Our next one is savings bonds. Again, savings bonds are similar to what we were talking about earlier with savings and checking or cash or CDs. Savings bonds are solid investment. They're going to make small interest amounts, but they're not going to fight against inflation. And if inflation is at 6, 7, 8%, savings bonds might pay 2.5%. Then obviously it's being worth less and less all the time. So it's not a really good long-term growth idea. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the custodial accounts. The UGMA or UTMA, which stands for Uniform Transfer to Minors Account or Uniform Gift Minors Account. These accounts are going to be in the child's name. They're going to be earned taxed earned at a child's tax rate. Okay, so when the child takes out money from these accounts, instead of it being paid, the taxes being paid at the adult's rate, which the adult's rate might be 24%, 30%, 30-something percent, whatever. The kids' rate, of course, if anybody remembers whenever they were kids, I used to love whenever the tax season happened. That meant, when I was 18 years old, I always got a tax check from the government because you never paid taxes. You were at a 10% tax rate. And so everything you paid from your W-2s would come right back to you, and that was a lot of fun. And so the same thing can happen here. If you're instead withdrawing money from the parent's account, it might be at 30%, but from the kid's account, it's at 10. And so that makes a big difference, And so that's why something like this is very popular. And also another popular part is that you can give $15,000 per person, adult, or $30,000 for the couple, okay, per year without incurring a gift tax to the child, okay? But it's actually unlimited. If you don't mind having a gift tax, that's fine. But $30,000 a year per couple can be given into that account without any gift tax.
That's a good bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So it can grow very fast. So if for people who have a good bit of money and haven't really started putting money away into an account yet, and they're like, you got kids that are 14 years old, that's a great place to go. Because you can put $120,000 away in 4 years, Also, you transfer the money, control between 18 and 25, depending upon the state, to the child. And then the maturity date is 18 for the UGMAs and 25 for the UTMAs. Money must be used by then. So the money's going to be used, given to the college. Okay. And then it's counted as child's income for financial aid. Yes, it does go against what the financial aid is going to be looking at. So that's an X against it. That's definitely a con. And it can be used for non-educational child's expense. So you could buy the car for the kid if you wanted to. You could buy the kid, clothing if they needed it or whatever. You don't have to do it just for education purposes. It's a little more flexible.
So that's why it is very important to entertain or consider all the available options, because so one source could provide you with the tuition, another source could provide you with the potential purchase for a car, and the other one could cover the books and the boarding, the accommodation. So that is definitely this requires lots of advanced planning. So if and when you decide that your kid is going to go to college and you are going to be wanting to assist them with the cost of college fees, period, which is not just tuition but a lot of other things, it is important to start planning and inquire about those options. Because again, I am still flabbergasted to see, the amount of student loan that are outstanding today in 2022, knowing that there are at least 9 other options available to parents and students for them to finance their studies.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So great. So again, that was another very, very excellent show. Eric, thank you for that. And it was certainly an education for me. I can tell you that. So I'm going to wind down and sum it up some. So today we continued talking about our topic of the month, which is student loan. And we focused especially about other funding options, other college funding options. And so you zero in on 529 plans, Coverdell ESA, Roth IRA, Index Universal Life, saving bonds, custodial accounts, such as Universal Gift to Minor Act and Uniform Transfer to Minor Act. So as I see it, for many families, the expense of education remain a substantial financial issue, and many continue to misjudge the sticker price. And many either ignore or are not aware of the many available options there that they could use, without breaking the bank. So hopefully by listening to the student loan series that we are conducting every week here in June, they will be totally enlightened and, know that there are other potential options there for them. So my last words would be that, okay, college can be expensive. We know that, right? By the numbers that we see. And it is important to start saving at really as early as possible. That's just the name of the game. And if you don't have a plan in place yet, now is the time to start thinking about how you can save for your kids' future and your future if you decide to go back to college. So please contact Eric. He can provide more information about the best option for funding your child's education. So don't miss out on this important opportunity to get started and plan for your child's future. Eric will be more than happy to answer any of your questions and guide you through the entire funding process. So with his help, you are sure to find a fun option that best suits your needs. And as I said, contact him, okay? Contact him today for a consultation, and he will help you find the best way to pay for college. So having said that, I'm going to run his banner there until the end of the show, so you would know how to contact Eric. And and I cannot say enough. Okay, I cannot say it enough. College is expensive these days, right? So do not let yourself be caught off guard. There is no reasons for that. Okay, the options are there. And don't let this very important expense meet you by chance. Okay, so start saving now and give your children the best possible opportunity for a bright future. This brings us to the end of today's Merging Life and Money episode. Listeners and followers, I hope you have enjoyed the show today. I could tell you I have. I learned quite a bit. Thank you for that, Eric. And I hope that you have a better understanding of how to plan and save for college cost. So as you know, I like to end my show with a quote. And today I am quoting a lady by the name of Barbara Mikulski. And the quote reads, "College is part of the American dream. It should not be part of a financial nightmare for families. So Barbara Mikulski or Mikulski, whichever way they pronounce her name, is an American politician and social worker who served as a United States Senator from Maryland from 1987 to 2017. So thank you, Eric, again for your awesome contribution to the show today. And we will meet again next week for part 4 of our series on student loan. Thanks again, Eric.
Thank you.
For more information about how to achieve financial wellness from the inside out and live a purposeful life with the money you have, join me next week, Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Atlantic Time, and 10 a.m. Friday, Brisbane, Australia time. Eric will be addressing a very, very important subject about how to prepare yourself for your kid to apply for the funding that they need for their education. Thank you for being here today on the Merging Life and Money Show. I am your host, Marie-Jo César. I will be back again next week. Until then, continue merging life and money. Bye for now.